So again, thanks for being here. I am going to mute everybody, but at any time, feel free to unmute yourself. If you do have questions for me or use that chat box. We are going to start tonight in a seated position and do our centering and checking in with our body, our breath, and our brain from there. So our seated positions can be very challenging for a lot of us. I want us to find a seat that is comfortable. We have been incorporating our hero's pose in some of our classes for our pranayama, which is when we bring the knees and feet together and sit back on the heels. You're always welcome to start in this position. For those of us that do have tight hips and hamstrings, this actually gives us a little lift underneath the sit bones, and it can really help us sit up taller. However, it does put a lot of compression on the knees. Adding yoga blocks between the feet, 1 or 2, can also help with that position. And of course, we can always assume our easy cross, Sukhasana, crossing at the ankles or knees, or any other position that works for you tonight. So if you want to try something different to start off in a seated position, I welcome that. Just as long as we can sit up tall through the spine, that we can be grounded and rooted through our sit bones and be as comfortable as possible. So take a moment to find that place. Adjust the clothing, the seat as needed. If you're sitting in a hero's pose, you may just place your palms down on top of your thighs. If you're in Sukhasana or Siddhasana, taking Chin Mudra is a nice option, index finger to thumb. The other 3 fingers extended in our seal of wisdom and knowledge. Palms up, a little bit more receiving energy. If we've had a long, busy day and the mind's a little irritated, palms down helps the mind ground. Float the head on top of the shoulders from whatever position we're in. Lift and elevate the heart, allowing it to open. Start to soften the muscles around the face, soften the gaze, until we're eventually closing the eyes. In the beginning, if we do need to rearrange anything in our body or our surroundings, please do so. And then we'll try to cultivate stillness in this pose. With the eyes closed, we redirect our attention inward. We let go of where we came from. We let go of any other place we might need to be, any to-do lists that might be on our agenda. We let go of any stress, worries we might have been carrying around from our day. Going a little bit deeper, we also let go of any judgment. And we let go of any competition in our practice, especially with ourself and our own ego. Let's start to feel the physical body, softening all the muscles across the face. Feeling the weight of the shoulders and elbows drop away from the ears. The gentle weight of our hands on our knees or our thighs. Relax around the hip sockets, the hip creases, down the legs behind the knees, and to the ankles, feet, and toes. Notice the contact points with the body and the props and floor below, allowing the lower half of our body to be connected and supported by the ground below. Simultaneously lengthen and stretch upwards through the spine, the torso, all the way through the crown of the head. As we're spending a moment with our body here, Let's take some inventory of any areas that we might be healing this evening. Let's send a healing breath into those areas and allow them to relax. Remembering that we'll approach our practice with ahimsa, our non-violence towards ourselves and our bodies, and with a quality of santosha, our contentment. And now spreading this awareness to the breath. Begin by simply observing the body breathe. Watching every inhalation, every exhalation. Notice any subtle movements or sound. Try to breathe evenly, smoothly, in and out through the nose. Maintaining a nice tall posture up the back to the crown of the head. We will breathe a little bit more deeply into our body, moving right into a few rounds of our yogic breathing, our diaphragmic pranayama. Concentrating around the area of the abdomen. On the next inhale, relax the belly. Breathing in, we let the abdomen expand like a balloon. On the exhale, gently contract the abdominal muscles, drawing the navel in towards the spine. Inhaling through the nose, we relax the belly. It stretches and expands like a balloon. And on the exhale, contracting those abdominal muscles, drawing the belly in and pulling the navel in towards the spine. As we inhale and relax the belly, this allows space for our diaphragm to drop down, pulling our breath deep into the lungs. As we exhale and contract the belly, this helps push that diaphragm up, helping to push the stale old air out of the lungs. Let's all follow 2 more rounds of our abdominal breathing. We may begin to expand and stretch this breath out a little bit longer. If you're naturally starting to mentally count your breath, try to add 1 or 2 counts to both the inhale and exhale. And then we'll all take 1 more round of breathing. And on this round, we'll let go of trying to count the breath. We'll simply breathe in our biggest breath of our day yet. So when we get to that next inhalation, start breathing in, expanding the abdomen. And then continue to fill the body up as much as we possibly can around the rib cage, the torso, all the way up to the brim and the throat. And at the very top of that breath, we will slowly start to exhale. And again, just take as much time as needed to exhale that breath all the way back out of the body, putting maybe a little bit more effort into those muscles, pulling the belly inward. At the very bottom of that exhale, when we get there, we will let go of trying to follow and control the breath. Let it wander away wherever it wants to go. And then just pause here for a moment, observing any physical, mental sensations. Maybe noticing the effects that that belly breathing has already had on our state of mind. And if at this point we need to adjust our seat, so maybe switching the cross of the legs or stretching the legs out quickly, you may do so. And then you may continue to just sit with your breath for another moment, or you may join me in our call and response version of our Saha 2 mantra. So that means that I will chant the first line myself and then repeat it a second time where you may join in. This is a mantra that encourages us to have a productive practice, to increase our knowledge, and to be brilliant in our study together. Continue to sit up nice and tall. I will begin. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Together. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Together. Sahana Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Together. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavaditamastu. Together. Tejasvinavaditamastu. Ma vidvishavahai. Together. Ma vidvishavahai. And then I'll repeat it one more time, all at once. Feel free to join in. Sitting up tall, taking a deep breath in. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavaditamastu. Ma vidvishavahai. From here, keeping the eyes closed, draw the hands together at the center of the heart, creating a positive intention or dedication for our practice tonight. And then we'll take our hands and start rubbing them together vigorously, creating friction and heat in the hands. Once we feel that warmth, we will palm the eyes. Make 2 cup shapes with the hands, sealing the eyes off. This is a wonderful practice to do throughout the day when our eyes are feeling fatigued from looking at our screens, driving, and just working in general. Let the eyes enjoy that nice, dark, warm pocket for a moment. And then begin to display the fingertips. As you're ready, gently start to flutter the eyelids open, bringing our awareness back to our surroundings. Take a nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, we'll let it go. So we have been seated for a while, so we're going to go right into our transition into tabletop so that we can release our legs and get some blood flowing back into our legs. If you're in hero's pose, you'll be able to walk your hands forward and go right into tabletop. If we're in our cross-legged position, just give yourself a moment to uncross, stretch out, and move yourself around. We'll set up our foundation, wrists under shoulders, fingers spread wide, a few inches between those knees and feet, and knees directly below the hips. Keeping that low back and hips level to the ground with the toes tucked under, let's stretch the right leg out. Take a big stretch here. Press that heel back towards the ground. Feel the eye of the knee opening. Breathe it in. Exhale, brings the right knee down. Go right into the left side. Big stretch for the left leg. Open up the eye of the knee. Bring it down. Let's do that again. Right leg stretches back. Shift the weight back a little bit more if you want it. Thinking about those core muscles, we can add a little strength right away. Press into the ground, draw the belly in. Try to float the left knee or the left knee and foot from the floor. So still giving our right leg a nice big stretch, but starting to wake those muscles up. Breathe it in. Exhale, knees come down. Back to the left side, stretch that left foot back from the hip. Press that heel back, open the eye of the knee. Draw the belly in. Try to hover the right knee from the floor. Even the foot may come up into our runner, stretch, or plank. Take a big breath in. Exhale, bring the knees down. Anytime, hasta bandha the hands on the fingertips, or make those fists for wrists. Getting some more fluidity up and down the spine, cat-cows. Inhale, relax the belly. Stretch the spine forward and upward through the crown of the head, gazing forward. And then on the exhale, scoop the tailbone under, draw the belly in, round the back up to the ceiling, bringing our drishti towards the belly button. On the inhale, we add those pelvic tilts, gentle back bending into extension. When we get to our exhales, we scoop, tuck, and round, stretching out the muscles of the back. Keep following your breath. Add any other additional movements that might feel nice for our back. Concentrating more around the hip area, if that's where we feel a little bit more tight this evening. Maybe between the shoulder blades, really poofing up the back of the heart. We'll balance ourselves out and come into a neutral position. Draw that low belly in, stretch the right leg back behind us. This time, squeeze the right side to hover that right leg parallel to the floor, toes pointing down. Going right into our balance and strengthening spinal integration. Left arm reaches forward from the shoulder. We're trying to hold the leg and the arm level and parallel to the floor. Keep the breath moving in and out through the nose. Take one more breath in. Next exhale, we'll bring that hand and knee down. Left leg stretches back. Squeeze the muscles of the left side. Hover that left leg parallel, toes pointing down. Right arm reaches forward, adding our balance. Try to wrap those muscles around the waistline nice and tight. Take another deep breath in. Exhale, hand and knee come down. This time, slide the top of the left foot out towards the long edge of the yoga mat. Re-extend the right leg straight back from the hip and keep the foot to the floor. Press strongly down through the left arm. Roll to the right instep, starting to stack the hips. Now pull your left side up into the body, away from the floor. Stack the shoulder blades, right arm extends up to the ceiling. Our modified side plank, modified half moon. Make sure the neck stays nice and long. For some of us, it might feel better to take our drishti down. Keep it forward, or even tries to gaze to the top thumb. Choose to stay here tonight or fire up the right-hand side of the body. Flex the right foot, the toes are pointing forward now. Leg comes parallel to the floor, so our modified half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Taking another breath in. On our exhale, we will reverse out of the pose. Same way we went into a foot. Look down. One mind, hand, knees, hips, everything back to tabletop. Fingertips, fists for wrists at any time. Take a couple cat-cows before we do the other side. Balancing the body back out. Nice strong foundation. Pull the low belly in. Slide the top of the right foot off towards the long edge of the mat. Extend the left leg straight back from the hip. Pressing strongly through the right arm to the left hand. Roll to the left and step. Pull the right side body into the body. Stack the hips. Stack the shoulders. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. Be mindful of the neck. Keep the gaze straight forward. Rotating it down or upwards, depending what feels best for you this evening. Choose to stay here. Start activating the left side of the body to hover the left leg parallel to the floor. Left toe should be pointing forward. Pretend that we're pressing down into an invisible ledge with that inner left ankle. One more nice deep breath in. The exhale will reverse out of the pose. Take your time, nice and smooth. Bringing the body back to tabletop. Again, cat-cow. We'll meet back in neutral. Let's come off our hands for a moment into child's pose. Big toes touch, knees open nice and wide. We'll draw our sit bones to our heels, pulling the belly in. Melt the belly, heart, and head to the ground. Continue to extend the index fingers to the front corners of the mat. Otherwise, sit back on pillows and blankets if our knees need to stay more open. Keep the hips elevated, rest on the forearms as an option. If the head doesn't touch the ground, slide your stacked fists or a prop under the forehead so that the head is supported. We're giving our wrists a break, taking time to stretch out that low back and around the hips one more time. And then on the inhale, we'll float the head and the body back up. One more time, transition to tabletop. This time, tuck the toes under, walk those hands one hand's distance forward. Draw the low belly in. We'll press into the ground to hover the hips up. Shift the weight back down the legs, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Adjust your stance as needed. Try to roll those upper arm bones away from the ears, allowing our neck to be long and loose between the upper arm bones. Draw the belly in, drawing the belly towards the thighs, pressing the thighs back. Have a look at the feet, make them as symmetrical to each other as possible. Bend the knees more deeply to help the back release more. And to continue to stretch out the backs of the legs, including the hamstrings. Pedal the heels, dropping one heel at a time, walking our dog. Maybe one side feels a little bit more tight than the other. There's no reason why we can't hang out on that side a little bit longer, if so that we're actually bringing balance back to the body. And then pause here for a moment of stillness in the pose, taking one more deep breath in and out through the nose. On the inhale, gaze forward. Baby step feet to hands, hands to feet. Forward fold, Uttanasana. To modify, bend the knees, placing the elbows or the hands on the thighs. Grab a hold of opposite elbows if you'd like to ragdoll the upper body. Start thinking about those lower locks or bandhas, so pulling in and up through the pelvic floor muscles, and Uddiyana Bandha, those lower abdominal muscles. Remember, we're still in inversion if the head's below the heart, so just be mindful of high blood pressure conditions, heart conditions. Tonight we're gonna roll it up. So we'll all micro bend our knees. Place the hands on the thighs with the fingers turned inward. Draw the chin to the chest. Press the feet into the ground using our strong legs in the core. We'll inhale and roll it up one vertebra at a time. Allowing the head to be the last thing to come up. Once the head is up, we have our balance. We'll purposely squeeze our shoulders up. And then exhale, drop the weight of the shoulders back down. Softly float the arms out beside the torso. And let's visit Tadasana or mountain pose for a moment. Feet should still be parallel to each other. Knees should be pointing towards the center of the feet. Let's pick up those toes, spread them wide. Root mound a big toe inner heel, mound a pinky toe outer heel. Draw front body to back body. Anchor the tailbone towards the ground. Spiraling the upper arm bones forward to rotate the palms forward, maybe even slightly out. Spread the fingers as wide as the toes. Gently turn the head side to side, loosening up the muscles around the neck. Do a little ear to shoulder drop side to side, making sure we're not holding any tension in the neck. We'll float the head right back on top of the shoulders. If the toes are still up, let's let them softly come back down to the ground. Inhale, reach out as wide as we can, out to the sides of the room, all the way up to the ceiling. Bring the palms together tonight, and on the exhale, lower the hands to the front of the heart. Interweave all 10 fingers. So our different variation of palm tree pose. Flip your palms forward. Press out for the heels of the hands. Inhale, float those arm bones beside the ears. Press your palms up as you try to lift your heels up. Exhale, lower the heels back down. Bend at the elbows so that the knuckles touch the top of the head. The palms are still facing up to the ceiling. Inhale, push the heels of the hands up. Lift the heels of the feet up. Exhale, we try to slowly come back down. Let's do 2 more tonight. Strengthening the lower half of our legs and ankles, creating a lot of length through the side of the body. Eyes are focused on one point, our drishti, also working the strength of our brain here on our balance. After our second one, we are going to inhale and reach up one more time, but this time we'll open the hands up. So we're floating our heels up, draw up through those lower bandhas, pull the belly in, and now just sway your arms side to side, testing our balance, adding in a little movement here. Good. Take another big breath in. Let's reach both arms up to the ceiling. Let's see how tall we can get without falling or falling. And then on the exhale, turn the palms down, bring the heels down, all the way back to Tadasana. And then relax. Noodle your arms around, let them go. And we'll come into our standing postures tonight. So since we talked about hamstrings, we are going to do Parsvottanasana, our pyramid pose or intense side stretching pose. I just realized I moved my folding chair away. I'm not sure where, but if you have a chair and you want to use it, place it to either short end of your mat, doesn't matter because we'll stay facing it the whole time. If you have 2 yoga blocks or even 1 yoga block, those would be nice additions to this pose. If you're even near a wall, we can still practice this pose pressing our hands into a wall. So lots of options we have. Good, and once we're getting set up here, we will come back to face our props. So wherever we got ourselves set up, we will face towards those props in Tadasana, feet hips width apart, about 2 fist distance. We want to make sure those knees are unlocked, standing tall. Drawing the belly inward, floating the arms down. Turn the palms out. Inhale, reach up, big stretch. Exhale, palms down, hands to hips. So ideally, we are going to keep our hips square to the front corners of the mat the whole time and level to each other. Right foot steps back, not a huge step, maybe about 2 feet or so. The right toes turn out just slightly. Remember, we're not on a tightrope here, so we should still have that hips width distance of space between the feet. Make sure your hips are still square, right hip forward, left hip back. On the inhale, you might draw your elbow blades back. Make sure you're not collapsing and jutting the lower ribs forward, but they stay connected. The exhale, the movement is here at the hips as we tip our pelvis forward. Coming down a few degrees, some of us will immediately start to feel this big stretch up the back of the left leg. So at first, we'll be unsupported, a lot of core work here as well. So those muscles wrapping around the waistline should be engaged and pulling to the center of the body. Drishti slightly forward in front of the left foot. On the exhale, as the back of the leg starts to stretch and open, fingertips may come down to your props. Think about leveling out that low back and keeping the front of the spine as long as the back of the spine. Continue to breathe in the pose. Maybe we come a little bit closer towards the leg, belly towards the thighs. You might be able to lower your props down and bring your fingertips to the floor. That's fine. Drishti to the left big toe. And then if you're moving further into an inversion again, where your head starts to come below the heart, belly towards the thigh, and your forehead is pretty close to that knee, you may add a little bit of rounding through the upper back. Adding Jalandhara Bandha or throat block, chin into chest, and trying to press that forehead into the knee. Simultaneously, keep pulling that left thigh bone up and into the hip socket. One more full breath in the pose. The next inhale will bring us to a halfway lift. Float the head up, walk the fingertips back out, hover the chest. Press down through the feet, micro bend those knees as needed. Strong engagement of the core. Exhale, one hand at a time onto those hips. Press off that front foot as we inhale. We'll lift up out of the pose. Look forward, step forward. Float the arms down. Pause in Tadasana. Observe the body, the breath, and the brain. Turn the palms out. Inhale, reach out and up, big stretch. Exhale, palms down, hands to hips. Inhale, left foot steps back from the hip. About the same distance, toes may angle out, heel in. Keep that hips width distance. Square the hips, left hip forward, right hip back. Draw the elbows back. Inhale, open the heart, but keep your lower ribs pulled into the body. Make sure the knees are unlocked and not jammed backwards. Exhale, force the pelvis forward. Moving into it, maybe just a few degrees. Don't rush, let the breath guide you. Stay in control. Tighten up those muscles around the midline. Good. Not being surprised if one side feels very different than the other. Good. Nice alignment through the spine, especially the front of our spines tonight. Keep that awareness. If the breath is taking us deeper, drishti to the front of the foot, maybe eventually to the right big toe. Belly might start being closer and closer to that front thigh. Think about keeping that low back and those hips level. And if you just want to test the waters, even if we're not really close, you can look to your right knee. If you are more in that inversion, head below the heart, you may add that throat compression, chin to chest, forehead to knee, little rounding through the upper back at that point. Good, nice choices. One more breath. Enjoying that big stretch up the back of the right leg. Our next inhale will float the head and the heart up, coming to a halfway lift. Re-engage the feet and the legs if you've lost a little bit of that. Pull the belly in even more strongly. Micro bend the knees. Exhale, one hand at a time to those hips. Inhale, press off that front foot to rise up to the crown of the head. And on the exhale, look forward. Left foot steps forward into Tadasana. Arms float out beside the body. Pause here. Turn the palms out. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. So we'll take a moment to clear our space. We will do one more balancing pose today. Balancing pose we've been doing in our evening class is a star pose with maybe a little bit more lateral movement, almost like we were playing to go into half moon, but we aren't gonna be going quite all the way down into Ardha Chandrasana or half moon. And since we are moving in this lateral plane, it'll be really important to stay connected to these deeper abdominal muscles to protect our back. So we'll start this pose with the feet maybe a little wider, maybe to the outside of the hips. On the inhale, we'll immediately stretch our arms out from our shoulders, keeping them more parallel here. Palms may face forward. Shift the weight into that right leg. Press the right foot into the floor so that the left side starts to get a little lighter. We will flex the left foot just as much, so those toes are pointing forward. So we're in this little balancing act. You can stay more upright and just activate the left side of the body to lift and lower the leg, like a little scissoring. Maybe the arms can be a part of it. If you want to play with that little variation of a half moon, tipping, maybe coming back up. So a lot of movement can be had here. Most importantly, we're really tight with our corset or our cummerbund wrapped around the waistline. We're also pulling in through those lower bandhas. And if that leg is lifting, we're trying to let everything move as one unit here. And thus you're just concentrating on some leg lifts or arm lifts out to the side. So just kind of be a little playful with it. Explore your space. Maybe try to just hold a hover somewhere. Nice. Take a big breath in. On our exhale, we're gonna land as softly as possible. The arms can float down. We'll pause here in a neutral position, equal weight in the feet. Observe and breathe. Inhale, arms reach out straight from the shoulders, palms face forward. Leaning into the left side, push the left foot through the floor so that our right side gets a little lighter. But we immediately want to flex that foot, start hugging those muscles to the bone, pointing those toes forward. So maybe just working with balance, maybe a little contraction, abductors lifting and lowering the leg. If this band is nice and tight and we feel safe in our back, we can add some lateral movements here in that lateral plane. Nice. Good. I like it. Challenge yourself. It might mean that we come out of the pose as long as you're coming out safely. I like it. That's always a good way to come out of the pose. Just keep going. Out of shot. Now, if you want to try to hold somewhere in that space for just one more breath. Take a big breath in. And on our next exhale, we'll try to land as softly as possible. Let those arms float down right into Tadasana, our neutral position. Notice the body, the breath. Turn those palms out. Inhale, reach out really wide. As big as that moon that was out there last night. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys got to see the moon last night. Palms touch. Exhale to heart center. Or the lunar eclipse this morning. I get up that early, but I didn't look. So if you did, you'll have to share with me after class because I saw some pictures and it was really pretty. All right, y'all, let's transition. Work our way back down to the ground now so that we have time to go into those deeper stretches we're talking about. Back to the top of our mats in Tadasana, stand tall, float the arms beside the body. Turn the palms out. Inhale, reach up, big stretch. Drishti to thumbs for a gentle back bend. On this next exhale, micro bend those knees, sweep the arms back, around, and down into your forward fold. Maybe we stop halfway, 3/4 of the way. Maybe we take it further into Uttanasana. Spend a moment here. Release the neck and shoulders as much as possible. Stretch out the backs of those legs. On the inhale, hands to shins, lift the heart, squeeze the upper back, halfway lift. And then exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands. We are still going to do our plank. So big step back, 1 foot at a time into plank position. Forearm plank, totally acceptable. Kneeling variations, totally acceptable. If you're kneeling, you even have to work harder to pull the belly in. There's a tendency to want to sag. Move up the back of the heart a little bit. Really draw the belly in. We're going to try to hold for just 20 more seconds. Feel as if you're trying to drag your feet and hands towards one another. Extend the crown of the head forward. Just 10 more seconds. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, hips up. Exhale, shift the hips back. And the weight down the backs of the legs. Rest for a moment, downward facing dog. Inhale, heels up, stretch out the toes and the soles of those feet. Exhale, drop the knees to the ground, point the toes, sit it back and down. Slide the hands all the way back to the feet, palms up if it's available. Drop the head and the weight of the arms beside the body into Balasana, child's pose. Pump the fingers a couple times. Then hands into the shoulders, tuck the chin, inhale, round up. Now, once we come to seated, we are going to practice a couple rounds of our Kapalabhati breathing. This has been the pranayama that we've been practicing the month of May, shining skull breath. It is a forceful exhale. We do not worry about the inhalation. We contract the abdominal muscles so strongly on the exhale that when we relax them after each exhalation, it works like a vacuum to naturally suck air in. So we're not purposely sucking air in to exhale back out. We're just exhaling. The belly should pop in with each exhale. We don't have to go very quickly. You can start out more slowly. Those of you that have been coming in my class, we've kind of been building up on this for each class. We did do 3 rounds on Sunday, but tonight, let's just do 2 rounds. If you're not able to stay seated here in hero's pose, add props behind the sit bones between the feet, or simply uncross or take your feet in front of you and cross your legs into a seated position. The belly's got to be open and relaxed though, so you want to adjust your waistband. If you have your own variation pace of Kapalabhati, you may choose to practice that. The one we've been practicing is a quick exhale out through the nose. We'll do 2 rounds of about 60 seconds each. So depending on how fast you're breathing will depend on how many exhales you make in that time. If you have any hernias, ulcers, or any other compromised issues in the abdomen or digestive system, this is not for you. So you may simply go back to our yogic breathing, which is our abdominal breaths. Inhaling, belly expands gently, and exhale, belly contracts gently. If you are going for a couple rounds, remember every exhale out, belly should come in, and then it'll relax, come in, exhale, exhale. If you get out of rhythm or the body gets confused, you stop, you take a break, and you just start back up. I would recommend starting more slowly, and then over time, working the pace up. So this pranayama stimulates our digestive system, improves our metabolism. It's a very cleansing, clearing breath physically and mentally. If you're in hero's pose, the palms can just be rested down on the thighs. We'll sit up nice and tall. You may always place one hand on your belly to help you concentrate, and then eventually close the eyes and internalize our awareness on the abdominal region. To begin, relax the face. Inhale through both nostrils. Exhale back out. And then begin. Exhale, 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 exhale. Contract, contract, contract. Belly snapping in with each exhale. You'll probably hear and feel that poof of air out through the nose. Try to keep the pace pretty even if you're going more slowly, like a metronome. Halfway there. There should not be a lot of shaking or convulsing going around in the head, the neck, or shoulders. You might feel a little tiny movement in the area. Five, four, three, two, one. Exhale, and then let it go completely. Relax the belly and the breath. Maintain your posture. Avoid any unnecessary fidgeting. Focus the mind around the navel center. You should feel something in the belly. Those muscles are working. We're stimulating that area of the body. You might also feel something around the skull, the crown of the head, and even the sinuses. But if you get any sharp cramping or pains, you want to back off. Second round, make sure you're sitting up tall. Inhale. Exhale. Begin at the bottom of that exhale. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Remember, you're just focusing on exhaling and contracting the abdominal muscles on every exhale. Halfway. Five, four, three, two, one. Exhale. Relax. Relax the face, the neck and shoulders. Relax the belly completely. Observe any sensations or feelings on a physical, mental, or emotional level. And observe those sensations without attachment, without judgment. And then very slowly flutter the eyelids open, bringing our awareness back to our surroundings. Those of us in Hero's Pose, simply walk your hands forward into tabletop. Single leg stretching one leg at a time behind the body to get blood back into the legs. We may also tuck the toes under, float the hips up, and walk our dog. If you switch to a cross-legged stance, stretch your legs out in front of you, pedal the feet, bend one knee, straighten one leg at a time, just so we get the blood flowing back through our legs. And then we'll all shift our hips over to one side and bring our feet out in front of us if they're not already there. We are going to transition down to the ground. Make sure you have your yoga belt, a dog leash, a scarf, a rolled up towel, whatever you're using or going to be using for Supta Padangusthasana. Safely walk yourself down using your hands, or you may choose to do a slow roll down with me. We'll just go one time tonight. Planting the feet, opening the knees, reaching the fingertips forward. Pull the belly in, articulate through the whole spine, rolling through the sacrum, the lumbar, the middle of the back, between the shoulder blades. Eventually the back of the head touches down. Our arms will continue to stretch overhead. We'll straighten the legs out and stretch them out down the middle of our mat to our long body stretch. Press the heels forward, pull the toes to the shin bones. Spread the toes and the fingertips. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, float those arms down, walk the feet in. Adjust the clothing, move ponytails if you have them. Draw the shoulder blades under, hug the knees in, rock it up. Drop the feet back to the floor. We'll start with our right leg. Take a hold of your strap. Bend the right knee in, taking the strap to the lower arch of the foot closer to the heel, and then making our right leg as straight as possible. Pressing the heel up towards the ceiling, opening the eye of the knee, elongating from the inner groin to the inner heel, contracting from the outer heel to the outer hip. Adjust your hand position, keep the strap in each hand. You may wrap it around the hands. Deepening the stretch, slide the left heel straight forward to the front of the yoga mat. Anchor the left leg to the ground. That foot is just as actively flexing toes towards the shin bone. Press the right thigh bone forward into the meaty part of the muscle. If there is room here, we may draw the right leg closer towards the right shoulder. Use the breath. Keep the face and the throat relaxed. Now take the strap in the right hand. Place the left hand on top of the left hip. Left side must stay grounded, low back, flat to the floor. We may bend the right knee if our leg is now out at a 45-degree angle to start. Inhale, open the right leg to the right. Bend the right elbow. So the right elbow drops to the ground, acting as a kickstand. Keep tension on the strap, and then we may re-extend out through that right heel. Externally rotate the thigh bone so that the toes of the feet turn outward and the heels inward. Big stretch for the inner thigh groin muscle and around the hip. Low back is flat, shoulders are grounded, left arm out from the shoulder, head turns to the left, couple deep breaths here. Let the right hand do all the work, while the left side's working too. Next inhale, we'll bring the head and the leg back up to center. Switch hands. Keep your right hip, low back rounded. Angle that straight leg across the midline just a few degrees. You may move it around in space until you start to feel all this fun stuff on the outer right thigh, IT band and hip. Massage into it. Gentle punching action into those muscles. Taking it into a twist. Left elbow works as a kickstand this time. Keep tension on the strap. Right hip will come up. Right arm may extend out. Head turns to the right to counter twist the neck. Relax the face, neck, and shoulders. Left hand's doing the majority of the work. Our next inhale will bring the head and the leg back up. We'll open the strap up. Slide the left foot in and up, meeting and waterfall pose, Viparita Karani. Bring the right foot to the floor. Press the left heel upwards. Straighten out that left leg as much as possible, opening the eye of the knee, lengthening from the inner groin to the inner heel, contracting from the outer heel to the outer hip. Slide the right heel forward to deepen the stretch. That foot is equally flexing, toes to shin bone. Nice strong anchor through the right side. If that leg stays straight, we may guide it closer towards the left shoulder with the breath. Left hand will hold on. Right hand to hip. Keep the right side down. Low back flat to the floor. Bend the left knee as needed so that the thigh bone is more at a 45-degree angle. Bend the left elbow. Tension on the strap. Right side super active. Press out through that left heel. Big inner thigh groin muscle stretch. Shoulders are grounded. Right arm may reach out from the shoulder. Head turns to the right. Externally rotate those thigh bones. Toes turn out, heels in, and breathe. Next inhale, bring the leg back up, head to neutral, switch hands. Left hip stays down. We're just trying to angle that straight leg across our midline so we start to feel the deep stretch in our outer hip and thigh. Massage into it, gentle punching. Moving into the twist, right elbow bends, drops to the ground. We let the left hip roll up, keeping the left shoulder grounded. Left arm extends out, head to the left. Even close the eyes here, slow the breathing down even more, bringing everything out. Next inhale, the head and the leg come up. Open the strap up. Slide the right foot in and up. Pause. Waterfall pose. Let's bend those knees. Release the strap off to the side. Cross one ankle on top of the other. Keep the arms reach up to the ceiling, but flop the hands forward. Wiggle out the fingertips in dead bug pose. Switch the cross at the ankles. Let the fingers just flop. Find stillness, dead bug pose. Uncross the ankles. Reach the arms across the shin bone. Pulling the nose up to the knees to stretch out the back and to give ourselves and our bodies a great big hug this evening. Filling ourselves up with gratitude for everything that we have, everything we just accomplished. Take a deep breath in. And on our next exhale, we get to let it all go. We get to place our body in any comfortable position using pillows, blankets, additional props, so that we may absorb our practice this evening, so that we may continue to recharge our batteries and fill our cups. Take a moment here to loosen the clothing, to adjust our surroundings and props if we're using them. Adjust the shoulder blades. Rock out the head, finding the very back center of the skull. Poof the cheeks with air, swallow a couple times. Roll the arm bones away from the torso slightly. Turn the palms to the ceiling. Fingers curl up naturally. Either keep the knees bent and the feet planted for our low backs, or stretch those legs out, opening the legs a little wider than the hips, allowing the feet to flap open. Feeling a wave of release and relaxation move across the whole body. Soften all the little muscles across the face. Relax the mouth, tongue, and jaw. Relax the chest, the heart. Relax the back of the heart, all the way down the back, releasing the low back into the floor. Relax around the waist, into the abdomen. Relax the belly completely. Notice a subtle rise and fall of the belly with the breath. Relax the whole right side of the body. Relax the whole left side of the body. Relax the whole back of the body. Relax the whole front of the body. Soften and relax the inside of the body. The breath is easy, quiet, and calm. If the mind wanders, we gently bring it back to the peaceful breath. Taking just one more moment of today to let go, to feel a sense of surrender, and to simply be and breathe. And then slowly coming back to that natural rhythm of our breath. Breathing life back into the body, waking up toes, fingertips, rocking the head, rolling the ankles and the wrists. Inhale, reaching the arms back overhead. One more long body stretch. Creating space in the body, side to side, front to back. Open up the fingertips and the toes. Exhale, arms float down, step the feet in, draw the knees into the body, rock out the back. Right arm falls beside the head, we'll roll onto our right side, pausing for a moment in Supta Balasana, sleeping baby. Keeping the eyes closed or soft, press into the ground. Use the strength of the arms to bring our bodies up. Revisit any comfortable seat in the body. We will finish with the closing mantras that we've been practicing if you like. Otherwise, we will focus on our breath, concentrating the mind on the breath for one more moment. Once we have our body in position, equally ground through the sit bones. Lengthen up through the spine to the crown of the head. Chin mudra in the hands, index finger to thumb, resting the hands on the knees. Continue to relax all the muscles across the face. Feel the weight of the shoulders and elbows drop away from the ears. The gentle weight of the hands on the knees. Notice the contact points with the legs and each other, and with the lower half of the body and the props in the ground below. Let the lower half of the body be grounded and connected and supported by the ground below. Simultaneously extend and lengthen through the upper half of the body, vertebra by vertebra, growing taller all the way up the column of the spine to the crown of the head. And to chant Om Pranamada, taking a deep breath in to begin. Om Pranamada, Pranamidam, Pranat Pranamudachyate, Pranasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. And being mindful of our surroundings, let's stretch those arms out beside the body one more time, palms up. Another big breath in through the nose, big stretch of the arms overhead. Inhaling, let's gather up everything we need for the rest of our night. Turn those palms back out, even bigger breath out. Float those fingertips all the way back down to the ground. And let go of all that other junk we don't need tonight. And one more time, inhale, arms up. This time bringing the palms to touch and exhaling hands to heart. Humbly bowing our head down to our heart to honor and thank ourselves, our bodies, each other, and remembering to be grateful to anyone else that made it possible for us to practice our yoga together tonight. And I thank you guys so much for your continued support, patience, and practice. To Austin Yoga Tree for continuing to allow us to come together. So thank you guys. If you have any questions or comments for me, feel free.
Thank you, Joanne.
You're so welcome, Jaya.
Thank you.
Thanks to have